Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Whatever time of day it is, and whatever day it is, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of AJH Politics. This is episode 16. I'm your host, Eric Herman. I'm the Libertarian candidate for Shawnee County Commission District 1. Most of the videos that I have been putting up this year have been to cover the Shawnee County Commission meetings, but this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about MART, M-A-R-T, and patriotism to humanists and pagans. For this reason, this episode will be in three parts. This is just the introduction. In part one, I will talk about MART, which is the Manhattan Area Resettlement Team. In part two, I'll talk about patriotism to humanists. And in part three, I'll talk about patriotism to pagans. I know these videos don't rack up a lot of views, but I do want to preface that I am only trying to share observation and not insults. I'm grateful to have learned about the opinions of my neighbors or people in the community, what they have to say about stuff. So where and when I disagree with someone's premise on the function of MART or the definition of patriotism, I'm only trying to share the opinion of one guy on the internet. These communities where I was were all polite, respectful, peaceful, and inviting to have me there. And I thought everyone there was a wonderful person, although some of their understanding of economics and ethics differ from me. Also, I will try to keep this PG-13 with the language, but sometimes my free speech gets the best of me. And I hope you enjoy the videos that accompany this stuff. For the most part, well, we'll see what happens. I'm just doing the audio recording right now. Welcome to episode 16B. In this episode, I'd like to tell you about a conversation I listened to at a local humanist meeting. If you are not familiar with the humanist religion, it is the religion that is atheism, or at least that is what they say. Like a Christian worships Christ or a Buddhist follows Buddha, a humanist worships the human experience. I also find them to be very scientific. And as someone who more or less believes in evolution or the Big Bang Theory compared to other creation mythos, I prefer science to explain such things. But maybe I'm putting words into other people's mouths. So leave a comment if I don't know what I'm talking about. Please explain what humanism is. There was definitely some stuff about feeling good about oneself. And when I think about what I know about Satanism, which doesn't directly worship a deity of Satan, but rather teaches its followers to worship oneself. It's a religious devotion to hedonism. And maybe I don't understand Satanism or humanism, but they did kind of sound a little similar in terms of the moral value was this self-happiness, this virtue that one can experience. Anyway, the point of it is that this local chapter had a meeting and the subject was patriotism to a humanist. And I was really curious what a humanist thought of America or being patriotic to America. Now, I myself would consider myself patriotic to America, and I do get pissed off at America because I do believe that there's plenty of room for growth and improvement, but I like the concept of America. And I mostly listened and didn't really get a chance to speak, but I'll say it here and now. What does patriotism mean to me? I am patriotic to the Constitution, and I believe that the laws and the philosophies set forth by that document and our founding fathers are awesome. And I'm proud to live in a country where we have, or I'm grateful to be living in a country where we have that document to govern us, and more importantly, to govern our government. Now, I understand that a lot of people don't think that we follow the Constitution, to which I would agree with them. But just because DC doesn't believe in the Constitution doesn't mean that I don't. Just because America is kind of removed from the Constitution at this point doesn't mean that the Constitution is what is wrong. Now, I didn't get a chance to say anything to that effect at the meeting because we ran out of time. I came there to listen. I was a noob to the meeting. It was my first time ever hanging out with these people, and I didn't want to make it all about me trying to talk about my opinions, let alone try to influence their opinions. So I want to restate that this was a very open, inviting, and safe environment, and there was no reason why I couldn't have spoken. I just never really got around to it before it was time for me to go. So back to why I went to this event. Now, part of my motivation is because I know that libertarians who are very upset with America, and they don't necessarily feel patriotic about America. And when I meet libertarians like this, I generally ask them, okay, well, where do they want you want to live? Like, do you want to move to UK or Germany or Argentina or Canada or Brazil or Mozambique? And basically what they talk about is they want to move to this imaginary country that is truly libertarian. At which point I say, that's great. If you want to go like found a nation somewhere, figure it out, do it. But if we can go back to the real world, if you were not living in the United States of America, where would you set up shop so that way you can start living in a country where you can achieve this goal of perfect libertarianism? To which they reply, well, in that case, America is the closest thing. It'd be the easiest way to achieve a libertarian state would be in a country like America, even if it isn't, or at least not anymore, as libertarian as it ought to be. And if you want to disagree with that opinion of mine or that, that's fine. I do think that Argentina could possibly be on the list considering who their current president is, but he could always get voted out. And to me, the thing that makes the American libertarian idea so awesome is the Constitution of America. And I don't know the Argentinian Constitution enough to claim that it's better. It might be, it might not be. I don't know. But like I said, Javier Milei, he could always get voted out. Like 20 years from now, who knows what Argentina is going to be like. But I'd like to think that 20 years from now, America still has that door right in front of us. All we have to do is open the door to freedom, and we have it. So anyway, I have typed up a script. I am rambling a little bit and I'm actually running out of script. There's several things I want to say. So let me just complete this episode and talk about what patriotism looks like to the humanist based off of one conversation with just a few people. So very small sample size. Basically, patriotism to them was left-wing politics being successfully implemented. There was a lot of complaining about Trump. And they complained about how he's embarrassing us on the national stage. Again, I don't know why. If I had a president that was doing the things that I want him to do, and there's things with Trump I agree with, things that I disagree with him on, that's not the point. The point is that I wouldn't give two rats ass if Italy, some Italian, just to pick a country, was like, oh, America's stupid because your president said something stupid. I'm like, I didn't say anything stupid. That's just somebody in another country who's just immature, for lack of a better word. Not to say Italians are all like that, or at least all of them. But, there's good and bad everywhere. Anyway, they were complaining about cuts to U.S. aid. And then they started talking about how now China is spending money and sending resources to all of these third world countries and how that makes us look politically weak and unempathetic. Now, as far as a politically national weakness on the global diplomacy stage, okay. But unempathetic seemed to be the concern of theirs more, which again, I'm like, I don't think that Bosnia is a crappy country because it's not out there helping, I don't know, Indonesia build a school for the deaf or like whatever's going on. It's just, it's not their job. So anyway, suffice it to say, I believe in the opposite. It is not our job to police, protect, or I would say colonize the world with our culture. Again, this left-wing idea it's always complaining. It's always negative. It's negative if we go over there and colonize them. It's negative if we stop going over there and telling them, hey, this is how you set up a country. This is how you build roads, or this is how you want to write a constitution, or things in that. So as much as I despise taxation, the fact is that will exist to some extent, whether I like it or not. Consider it a necessary evil. And I would rather our tax dollars go to our own communities rather than to be spent abroad. And there was definitely some liberal ideas about universal health care and education. And I put quotes in this word liberal in my script here because this is the 21st century definition of liberal, not classic liberalism, which is like libertarianism in the fact that you have a right to healthcare, aka there should be no law that says that you can't go to a doctor. You have a right to education. There's no reason why we should have something that it's illegal for women to learn math. Okay. However, It is not the government's responsibility to provide this for you. It costs money. Doctors provide an awesome service and they deserve to get paid for their job. The same thing is true with teachers. And I see plenty of these memes on the internet, and you can find them too if you're curious. Libertarians are not against education. We are not against improving education or healthcare or access to quality housing. But we just don't think the government is really good at our schools. We don't think the government is doing a good job of providing us with healthcare, and we don't think that the government is doing a good job of providing housing to the poor with their crappy Section 8 housing. It can be improved by capitalism. So anyway, that basically was their opinion about patriotism. Is they looked at it, they were patriotic to successfully achieving utopia. Like, oh, everyone has all this money and all this stuff and everything is great. That's what I'm patriotic towards. And that's fine. I mean, like, who doesn't want that as a goal? It's just a little imaginary, in the same way that I talked about libertarians wanting to go live in an imaginary country because they don't want to be patriotic to America. Now, another thing that did come up here, and it's going to come up again in episode 16C, is they did talk about the Pentagon not recognizing humanism as a religion anymore. And that absolutely totally upset me. Also, I totally agree with him that is absolute BS, that they have the freedom of religion to be recognized for this. And basically what that means is that chaplains in the military don't have to recognize humanism. So like, if you want a humanist wedding or divorce or last rites performed, like if you want a humanist funeral, they will not perform it for you, or at least they don't have to. And I have a real problem with that, because now a lot of chaplains are inherently, I guess, what do you call it? Religious persons within their faith. So they might be a priest if they are Catholic, or they might be a reverend if they are a Southern Baptist. The point is that you're in the army. Okay. So like, if the Catholic priest says, I refuse to do a Methodist ceremony of marriage because I'm not a Methodist and I don't believe in Methodism, then don't be a chaplain in the military. Just go be a Catholic priest and do it like that. And I got no problem with the person making that decision. I do have a problem with Washington, D.C. telling people that they don't have to recognize certain religious beliefs just because they don't like them. And again, I'm not patriotic about that. They're not following the Constitution. I'm patriotic to the Constitution. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this part of episode 16B. So thank you for listening to this episode 16. And we'll be talking about Mart. We talked about patriotism to both humanists and to pagans. I hope I didn't ramble too long or say too many ums as I continue to do. I wanted to get this out. I'm already late behind. I was able to type up about half the script, which got you 16A and 16B. So thank you so much for listening. Please vote for me, Eric Herman, for Shawnee County District 1.